Hello and welcome here to TalkFCB, and today welcome to a slightly different video to what we usually have on here. Today we are going to be talking about the Premier League, and it's only one day away, so I thought what I would do, a few people on Twitter suggested that I do a quick preview on the season to come in the Barclays Premier League, and it's going to be a very exciting season. There's a number of great teams, and there's been some very, very good signings from the Premier League. They've had big absences, of course. Luis Suarez has left the Premier League, a very big hole there to fill. But there's been some good players coming in as well from the continent. It's going to be a very, very big season in English football. So we'll start with the much debated top four. You know, a lot of people are saying, that's going to be a very, very interesting question. Champions League football nowadays for big clubs who spend money is so important. You've got to get the top four. So I'm going to start with first place and who I think will win the Premier League next season. And I'm going to go with Chelsea. The reason for that being, Chelsea have an incredible team and an incredible squad and a very good manager. I think last season they were actually quite disappointing. Mourinho said they weren't quite ready. I didn't really buy that. I thought they had a decent squad last season. Of course, they're a real top-class striker. They've got that this year in Diego Costa. I still slightly worry about them in the striking department because there's sort of inevitable at some point in the season Diego Costa will pick up a ban. It's 5 yellow cards, that sort of thing. And they're going to need somebody else. I mean, they've got Drogba, and he's suffered a slight injury towards the start of the season. Fernando Torres is there, of course, but I think they could do, obviously, with selling Romelu Lukaku, they could do with a little bit more strength in depth going forward. But in terms of the midfielders they have and the defensive options they have, they're really second to none. When you look at the goalkeeping situation, they've got two world-class goalkeepers in Petr Cech and Thibaut Courtois. They've got some fantastic defending players. They've got Ivanovic, Azpilicueta for right back. They've got Felipe Luis at left back, a fantastic signing from Atletico Madrid. They've got Terry and Cahill, a very, very solid partnership at centre back. The likes of Zuma as well in there, young players. But the one thing for me, and the one player for me, I think if they'd have had him eligible in the Champions League last season, we may have seen Chelsea go a lot further, and that's Nemanja Matic. I think he's a really, really top-class player. I think the way he not only breaks up the play and does his defensive work, but is also the way, he creates attacking moves. His passing is absolutely outstanding. His first touch and time on the ball is brilliant. And I think Nemanja Matic is a really, really key player, something that Chelsea have lacked since Claude Makélélé left. They've never really replaced him. Now they've got Nemanja Matic, who's not only disciplined and good defensively, but in terms of going forward and creating moves, he's a very, very good at that too. Obviously, Cesc Fabregas coming in, a world-class signing. It still baffles me that Arsenal didn't take the chance to sign him. They've got energetic players like Ramirez. They've got obviously Oscar, Hazard, Willian, Schürrle, Mo Salah. They've got so many attacking players, and they've got a lot of range of players as well. The likes of Schürrle, very direct. Willian, a hard worker for the team. Oscar, very technical, very skillful. Creativity is very, very high. Then you've got Hazard, of course. I think he needs a big season. Eden Hazard, he needs a very, very big season. But Chelsea look very, very strong, and I think they'll win the title. Next in line, you'd look at Manchester City, of course, reigning champions last season. Sort of went under the radar. It was all about Liverpool and City. In the end, came and won it, and I don't think really enough was made of their title campaign. I thought they did very, very well last season. Big, big season for Sergio Aguero. Spent a lot of last season on the sidelines with injury. Didn't have a brilliant World Cup. Just signed a new contract as well. I think he'll have a fantastic season. I think hopefully he can stay injury-free, because when he is out there and playing, he's a real joy to watch. I think a big season as well for Stevan Jovetic. Came in last season, didn't get the playing time he wanted again due to injuries, but in pre-season he's looked very, very sharp, very, very good on the ball, and he does look a very good finisher as well. Edin Dzeko, of course, so underrated last season, an outstanding season. In terms of Man City's attack, I think they've got the best attack in the Premier League. I really do. I think they've got some outstanding attacking players. In the wider areas, they've got the likes of Jesus Navas, who can give them real pace and width. They've got Yaya Toure, Samir Nasri, Fernandinho. They brought in Fernando as well. Not really an incredible signing. I thought they sold Javi Garcia, so Fernando is probably a better player than Javi Garcia is. So it's a sort of a like-for-like swap there. They just slightly improved the depth of their squad. Again, though, those two in midfield, Yaya Toure and Fernandinho, as long as they're both fit, they are really, really outstanding combination. City's defence as well is something that maybe needed work. Bakary Sagna has been brought in. A good defensive right back. Won't dislodge Zabaleta, who I believe is probably the best right back in the league right now. But again, good for the strength and depth of their squad. Mangala has been brought in from Porto, one of the best centre-backs. Could be one of the best centre-backs in world football in a few years' time. Very, very strong, very, very athletic as well. Left back, they've got Gael Clichy, Alexander Kolarov. Again, you look at this squad, they've got two good players in every position. And that's the top clubs for you these days. They've got real depth in their squad for the amount of games they have to play. So City will finish second. In third, I think Arsenal fans will probably be expecting better, but I think Arsenal will finish in third place. I think they'll get the top four as usual. Alexis Sanchez is an outstanding signing for them, a world-class player. I still don't believe Olivier Giroud can fire them to the Premier League title. He had a decent season last season, improved, but still not, a world-class striker in my opinion. Alexis Sanchez is also not a striker. Arsenal fans seem to think that he can play through the middle, but I got to be honest and say that I think he'll be deployed in a wide role. I don't believe Alexis Sanchez is going to be the main striker this season. Theo Walcott gives them incredible pace. As long as they can keep their players fit, there's a real chance for them this season to go and do well. I think they'll have a real good go at the Champions League as well. It's going to be interesting to see with Arsenal though, because the fans are going to get annoyed very quickly if things don't go well to start with. So it's going to be interesting to see if the wheels come off for them. But I think they'll definitely get third. They'll definitely get top four. But I think the title is out of reach. City and Chelsea's squad, I think, beyond anyone else in the Premier League. And the debated fourth place. There's a lot of teams vying for this fourth place. Everton, Tottenham, Man United and Liverpool are all gunning for this fourth place. And I think United will get it because they haven't got any European football. They can plan week in, week out. They've got a week's break between every match near enough. They've made some decent signings. Luke Shaw's come in. Ander Herrera, I think, will be an outstanding signing for them this summer. A brilliant player for Athletic Bilbao. He can only get better with age. They still need some defensive reinforcements. I think they'll make some defensive signings later on in the window. And I think Louis van Gaal is an outstanding manager. I think he'll do really, really well in terms of, he's a very, very good tactician, isn't he? He's a very good motivator. And I think Man United will get the top four because of that reason. I think he's not David Moyes. They're going to have a much better season than last season. But it'll be interesting to see how close it is, because I think Tottenham will be banging on the door. I think Everton will be banging on the door. And I think Liverpool, of course, will be banging. I think it'll be very, very close to the top four. But I think Man United will get it. Fifth place, I am going to go with Liverpool. I think they'll just miss out because they haven't spent well enough. I wouldn't even say they've got a chance of winning the title, unfortunately. They're a club that, they are a very, very good club, good football to watch. But if you can't win the title with Luis Suarez, you can't win it without him, unfortunately. And I think, when you lose a player of that calibre and that class, you have to replace him. They haven't. They spent $4 million on Ricky Lambert. They've not brought in Loic Remy. Not sure why that didn't happen. They still lack that real stellar signing, in my opinion. They've not really bought that one player who jumps out at you. Lazar Markovic could turn out to be a very, very good player, but again, that's going to take time. Huge season for Raheem Sterling. I expect massive things of him this season. He's a player that I believe can become one of the best in the Premier League, without a doubt. Daniel Sturridge, again, needs to replicate what he did last season, needs to be consistent in Suarez's absence. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how close they run it, but I just don't think top four is in their reach this season because of the player they lost. In sixth place, I'm going to go with Tottenham. I think Tottenham have got a lot of good players in their squad. They need to be utilised. I think Pochettino will come in and he'll do very well with the players he's got. He'll bring out the best in Roberto Soldado. He'll bring out the best in Eric Lamela. And I think it's a really, really good manager for Tottenham. He's got a good style. Tottenham fans will be very, very impressed with him. And I think Eric Lamela will definitely come on and show why Tottenham paid so much money this season, because they didn't hit the ground running last season. Spurs, they had a tough time under AVB, a lot of controversy under Tim Sherwood, and I think now they've got stability in Mauricio Pochettino. They've got some good players. They've made some decent signings again. The likes of Ben Davis, Michel Vorm have come in, Eric Dier. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how they do under Pochettino. but they've got some good players, and I think they'll do quite well this season. They'll have a very good Europa League run as well. Semi-finals, I'm going to predict for them to be in the Europa League, but I think it's going to be good to watch them this season. Finally, Everton in 7th place. Sounds bad for Everton, but I don't think it'll be as bad as it sounds. I think they'll be very, very close to the top 4, just missing out. I think Lukaku is an outstanding signing for them, really shows the ambition that they're showing. Roberto Martinez will have another good season. He's an outstanding manager with an outstanding philosophy, and I think they'll do very well. The big thing about them will be the Europa League. I think he'll have a really, really good go at that. Of course, the winner of the Europa League this year goes into the Champions League for next year, so I think Roberto Martinez will have a really good go at that, and I do believe Everton could reach the final. I think they've got the players, they've got the squad, they've got the types of players that the Europa League can really bring out the best, and I think Lukaku will be motivated on European nights. Christian Atsu, of course, playing for Porto in Champions League matches before, he'll be very, very good in the Europa League, and I think it'll be a very interesting season for Everton fans, and one that they can get excited about. European football coming to Goodison, and there's nothing better than that for them. And now for the bottom 3. There's been some managerial changes, there's been some signings, there's been some departures, but I think now the bottom 3 will be West Bromwich Albion. I just do not believe that they have made good enough signing. I think the other side to go down could well be West Ham United. I think Andy Carroll injured again. They've made a lot of signings, no real proven Premier League players. They could be in for a tough time. The problem with them is as well the fans are already annoyed at the way things are going with Sam Allardyce and the style of play. So it's going to be a problem for them, I feel, because if they start badly, the fans are going to be straight away on Sam Allardyce's back, straight away, and I think he could well get sacked. And then that leaves again, the pressure of a new manager coming in and the disturbance of that, and it's going to be a tough season for them, I feel. And the final club, I wouldn't have said this a few days ago, but I think it's going to be Crystal Palace. I think Tony Pulis leaving is a massive, massive blow for them. He was outstanding last season for them. And I just think that with him leaving, of course, just a few days now before the start of the Premier League season, they haven't signed well, they haven't bought good players. They're going to really struggle this season without Tony, and they will really, really miss him. And that'll be something that they really do, look back on and say, if we'd have kept Tony, things may have been different, but Steve Parish has only got himself to blame, it would seem. So that's the relegation sorted, that's the top half of the table sorted. There's going to be teams in the middle like the Newcastles, the Hull Cities, they'll all be fine, they'll all be good. I hope they can have a better season this season, Newcastle, because the fans are on Pardews' back last season massively, and I think they've made some good signings. Remy Cabella, Sim de Jong, they'll all have good seasons, I think. Newcastle fans should be happier this season, but they've got some really tough company in the top half to compete with, so you got to be realistic about ambitions for this season, so let's see what happens with that. But that's the Premier League preview, done for the table. Top goal scorer, I will go with Sergio Aguero. I think, as I said earlier, he has an injury-free season. He's the best striker in the league now. I think with Luis Suarez gone, it leaves a big opportunity for anyone else. Somebody else is going to be top goal scorer now this year, and it's going to be a new player possibly. But I think Sergio Aguero, as long as he can stay injury-free, has got enough in him to go and claim that top goal scorer prize. Surprise of the season in terms of a player, I would love to see it be Bojan. Great signing for Stoke City, done well in their pre-season matches so far. I would love to see it be him, go there and really make an impact in the Premier League and show the potential that he did show early on, because he does have the potential to be a really, really special player, and I just hope that Mark Hughes can bring that out of him this season and get some good form out of Bojan. So that's the Premier League preview here. Starting tomorrow, it's exciting for Premier League fans and other fans as well. I'm excited for the Premier League season. It always brings controversy and it always brings excitement to the rest of the world, and it's a really, really great competition with some fantastic teams all vying for the title. The top 4 race will be outstanding, and the relegation battle will be strong as ever, I'm sure. So thanks for watching the Premier League preview here. We'll have a La Liga one coming up next week for you to look at, and stay tuned for more Barcelona podcasts. But if you're new, please subscribe. We've got a lot more going on this channel. We got podcasts coming every single day regarding everything concerning football, so we'd love that if you could subscribe. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a like, and of course I want to hear your opinions in the comments below. What do you think will happen in the Premier League this season? Who are you tipping for the title, and who are you tipping to hit the championship next season? Thanks for watching, as always, and I'll see you in the next podcast.